In the NBA, Jaylen Brown couldn't stay out of the headlines this week. First, he was fined $50,000 for criticizing the officials after the Celtics' first-round loss. Then he further raised eyebrows when he doubled down on this being his favorite season, even with his team's early exit. And to make matters worse, his mentor Tracy McGrady admitted that Brown's had frustrations deep within the organization. Yesterday, on First Take, here was Big Perk.
My advice to Jaylen Brown is to go on vacation, bro. Go on vacation. Like, quit doubling down because you're making matters worse. That's the first thing. T-Mac and Jaylen Brown have a personal relationship. A few people has dropped the ball in this situation. And so when you think about with Jason Tatum, him coming back, him taking a back seat. He took a back seat, JB, and let you be the Batman of this car that you was driving. And you excited? And you're talking about this is the best season after you home in the first round?
Feels like there's a lot to unpack here. Tim McMahon, Vin Goodwill, and I'll start with you, Jay Will. What is your take on what's really going on here?
It feels like this split up is inevitable, and they're going to force Brad Stevens' hand, and that's Jaylen Brown to me. And look, I never want to see these two break up. I actually think they're very compatible. I think they can win multiple championships together. But as I've always been told since a little kid, ego is one hell of a drug. And as you keep winning at a high level, somebody feels like they have to be the guy. And it feels very intentional watching Jaylen Brown. He doesn't say things with lack of awareness. He's always very intentional with what he says. And what he's telling me and what I feel like he's telling the world is, this is a success when I'm the guy. You guys keep treating me like I'm secondary. I want to be the guy. And maybe he needs to go away. Maybe this could get passed over. But inevitably, we know who they both are. And it feels like it's like this. It doesn't feel like this is a long-term thing.
What do you think?
It's not as much of a clash as it is, hey, who said I signed up to be number two? That we assume that Jaylen Brown was going to be happy being the number two so long as they were winning. Here's the important thing to think. On July 26th, the Celtics can put a 2-year, $142 million extension in front of him. They may not have to, but they can. He can sign it, and it can extend this thing long term, or he cannot. But the important thing, Greeny, is this. These two players are making max dollars, 66% of the salary cap, and two players, one who wants to be the guy, the second in Jason Tatum, who we don't know if we've seen the best of Jason Tatum because of this Achilles injury. We have no idea what his next 3 or 4 years are going to look like. So the Celtics may have to make a choice financially more than personality-wise.
Do you think this thing is headed towards a split, Tim?
This is a completely unnecessary controversy. Please, Jaylen Brown, log off the internet. Like, dude, you just had a flame out in the playoffs from a 3-1 series lead. I agree with Perk. Go find some sand. Find a beach somewhere. Relax. This doesn't need to be messy. There doesn't need to be drama and is a divorce coming. This is a duo that won a championship together 2 years ago. Take a deep breath. Enjoy your summer, come back ready to roll for training camp. And look, the Celtics do have to put that extension on the table if they're going to keep Jaylen Brown. You can't disrespect the guy. But again, the drama is not necessary.
Right, but I think that you're making an important point. I don't know if it's the one that you mean, but because it's unnecessary, it suggests that it is intentional. Look, I don't know Jaylen Brown at all, so for me to try and it's dangerous for me to be psychoanalyzing him from a distance. I don't know him. Maybe you do, but everything I've ever seen about him suggests I agree with you. He's super smart and super aware of the things that are going on. He is well aware he didn't need to say any of this. He could right now be out there at a beautiful resort somewhere doing whatever it is he loves to do when he gets away from everything. He has made the decision to create all of this conversation, and those things usually don't happen by accident.
The first day it happened, we came on the show. I was like, you know what this leads to. You know what kind of chatter this leads to. Now, look, whether you want to get in personal spats with other people from different networks and just continue to make this a stir, but not saying they're the same, but like when Kobe got a chance to play without Shaq, like Kobe's like, oh, okay, I can do this.
Right.
I can do this. And you feel something similar kind of happening here in real time.
And Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen were very much the same way. I was there for it every single day, and that was a relationship that had to be managed. It's not that easy to be the Robin when you feel like you're good enough to be Batman.
Well, let's be perfectly honest. Ain't nobody know Scottie Pippen over here, right?
That's what I'm saying.
I'm saying that as a mark on Scottie Pippen.
No. Meaning what?
Meaning Scottie Pippen was never going to be anybody's number one. Right? Jaylen Brown has shown this season in his mind, like to me, this was inevitable. From the moment that Jason Tatum went down in that injury, any reaction that what was going to happen this year was going to lead to something that lands here. If the Celtics underachieved, then it would have been, wait, can Jaylen Brown be the number one guy? And if he can't, then maybe we have to do something. When they overachieved, who says Jaylen Brown wants to go back to being subservient, so to speak, on a team pecking order to Jason Tatum, given all that he's accomplished? He wasn't on my MVP ballot, but he was on a lot of people's MVP ballots because of that. And it's not that the Celtics got knocked out in the first round. You can look at the rest of the roster and say, hey, if we built this the right way, maybe Brown can be the number one guy. That's what he could be thinking. I don't necessarily think that, but I can see how he lands there.
And Tim, to finish it up, just as far as the duo is concerned, I understand the value of one championship is infinity. I'm not diminishing that at all. And they won a title, they'll always have that. But every other year, all the other seasons of their duo time have ended in disappointment. They've ended before they should have. They've ended in series in which they were favored to win. I think that counts for something here, Tim.
Yeah, it does. And listen, if Jaylen Brown is this number one guy and he needs his own team and all that, he should have been that guy in Game 7 and they should still be playing. Instead, they were the Eastern Conference favorites and they were done after the first round. Go on vacation.
Greeny, all I say is when you're 29 years old, you think you want it a different way. When you're 35, like, the grass isn't always greener.
That's right. I mean, everyone needs to be careful what they wish for here, but that doesn't mean they don't wish for it. Coming up for the Sixers, or Anunoby for the Knicks?
I'm going to say OG Anunoby because I think he is that critical as far as a glue to what the New York Knicks do. Offensively, when you look at the way that they've been playing on the past 4 games, Karl Towns as a hub, who's been a beneficiary of that? OG Anunoby on cuts. That's why you've been seeing him shoot so well. He defends. He's tough. He shoots. He makes it all work. I don't know what Joel Embiid is going to look like if he comes back tonight. They could very well win without him tonight. I don't know if the Knicks can win the Eastern Conference. Matter of fact, they're not going to win the Eastern Conference without OG Anunoby.
Well, which brings us, before we get to the thoughts about Embiid, let me go back to Anunoby. Because, Tim, you and I are very much of one mind as far as the status of OG Anunoby and the way this injury is being described and what we're looking at here in the next 36 hours.
I mean, the guy strained his hamstring a couple nights ago and he's questionable. I don't know who they're trying to fool. There's no way OG Anunoby can play tonight. I mean, it's ludicrous. We saw Aaron Gordon play last year on a strained hammy. It was a Game 7. He didn't play well. We saw Anunoby a couple of years ago come back after missing 4 games and try to go on a strained hamstring. He dragged his leg around for 5 minutes, got absolutely torched. He can't play. The hope is he can be back maybe at some point later this series, maybe next series, because I do agree with Vince. They need OG Anunoby, and they need him at his best to get to the finals. If you play him tonight, you're risking losing him for the rest of the postseason.
I mean, I'll make it as direct as I can. I'm watching this game tonight on my couch, and OG Anunoby should be sitting right next to me. OG, you're welcome. I will cater. I'll bring anything you want to eat, to drink, whatever it is. He should not be in Philadelphia. He shouldn't be allowed within the city limits. The Knicks have a 2-0 lead. That's why you build a 2-0 lead, so you don't have to send your arguably your best player out there with an injury that everyone re-aggravates. I mean,